from TenThumbspro.com, coming at you with another lesson. Excited for this one because we're looking at how to jam on that jazz progression we did last week, alright? It's going to be pretty basic. I know some of you more advanced jazz guys might be out there criticizing me and poo-pooing it because we're just doing diatonic arpeggios. But the idea is just to get you guys who are new to jazz, new to improvisation, a couple vehicles or a couple things that you can use to jam over 2-5-1 progression, alright? Have a little fun, okay? So we're going to look at arpeggios and guide tones. And we're going to show you how you can apply this to the other keys, move the arpeggios around, and we're going to look at which notes make which color. It's going to be a lot of fun, okay? So grab your ukulele, grab your brain, grab your attention span. Real quick, TenThumbspro.com. New lessons every Wednesday, new lessons every Saturday. Check out the links below, all the support you give us. We really appreciate it down there, Instagram, Facebook, and all those kind of things. But if you came just for this lesson, that's cool. I dig it, I respect it. That's fantastic. We're here to teach you ukulele, okay? So grab your ukulele, grab your brain, grab your attention span, and follow me onto this lesson. Let's break it down. Alright, getting started on our jazz journey. We're going to be looking at two concepts. We're going to be looking at something called arpeggios and something called guide tones. I'm going to walk you through them, and then I'm going to show you how we can put them in play over a jam track, alright? So we're going to be doing this in the key of C because there's no flats and no sharps, and it's the easiest to explain. And we're going to be playing a 2-5-1 in the C. And that's going to be our mode of improvisation, or our harmony, or our bass for doing what we're going to be doing. So our first chord is going to be the 2 minor, which is the D minor 7. So we need to learn the D minor 7 arpeggio, which is 2nd fret C string, 1st fret E string, open A, 3rd on the A. And that is our D note, which is our root, our F, which is our minor 3rd, our A, which is our 5th, and our C, which is our 7th. Now, these chord tones are all going to sound good over that chord. So when that chord is playing, maybe we'll play something like, alright? And all I'm doing is just going back and forth between these two, open. It's going to sound a lot more musical when we put it to the harmony, but also I'm just showing you that I'm just using these 4 notes to kind of try to find some melody. You can do anything you want over them. The idea, I think, is first to get them under your fingers, okay? The next chord is going to be the G7, the G dominant 7, and the arpeggio for that looks like this. Alright, so what I'm doing is I'm playing the 2nd fret, on the C string, a D note, so we have another D. So we see the D is the root of the first chord, and in this case it's the 5th of our chord here. So these tones that are the same make it really nice transition notes between the 2 arpeggios. So that's something to keep in mind. Look for the notes that you see in multiple arpeggios. This arpeggio starts on the 5th with our D, again our F, but this time instead of being the 3rd, it's our 7th, G, which is our root note, and up here we have our 3rd, our major 3rd, which is the B. So that arpeggio is. And then last but not least is the C major 7 arpeggio, open C string, open E string, G note, 2nd fret on our A string, which is our B note, and that B note is going to be our major 7th with our C being right next to it. So you can start to see how these little transition points go in over these arpeggios as well. So the idea is to take those 3 and play them and play them and play them so you're really comfortable and you have them underneath your fingers, and then be able to identify which notes you're playing in the arpeggio. Root, D minor 7, root, minor 3rd, 5th, 7th. The G7, 5th, 7th, root, major 3rd. And the C, root, 3rd, 5th, major 7th, root. Alright? Get those under your fingers, and you should know what guide tones are. Guide tones are the 7ths and the 3s because they're what define a chord. If we take an example, when we look at a D major chord, and we look at a D minor chord, right? The only thing we're doing is moving this note over one, because we have a D, which is our root, an A, which is our fifth, but the F and the F sharp are what's called minor third, F, major third, F sharp. And that's what defines this chord, because the difference between a D major and a D minor is only one note, and it's that third. So that makes that third a defining note, which gives it a lot of characteristic. And the sevens do the same thing. So when you're in your arpeggios and you play your threes and your sevens, you're outlining these chords, or you're outlining the color of these chords, which sounds really nice against the harmony in the jazz, alright? So what we're going to do now is we're going to take a look at a chord progression, and I'm just going to play a couple licks over the top of it, and I'm going to explain what I'm doing, and then you are encouraged to go ahead and get this jam track and play along with it and practice these arpeggios, alright? I'm going to put the jam track on the website. I'm not quite sure exactly how to do that yet. We're going to have it for 99 cents for an instant download. Download the MP3. It's an 8-minute jam track. If it's not on the website, go ahead and contact me, and I can send you a little invoice for $1, and then I'll email you the jam track as well, alright? Really good practice to practice it to music. Put it on the stereo, put it on repeat, and just jam and jam over and over again. And find your own lines and melodies, alright? Find your own little nuances and your own little tricks, okay? So this is our introduction. Let's go ahead and let's put the jam track on, and let's break it down and look at some ideas that we can do, okay? Alright. Okay, so I think one of the first things that you want to do is you want to really try to like hit the target notes. And I would start with the roots. So I would start by playing the D, the G, and the C here, or here. I think that that's a really good exercise just to kind of get the feel of the progression on your fingers. Alright, then once you do that, I would also do the same thing with the thirds and the sevenths. So when we think about our D, we have our third there, and for our G it's the 7, and for our G we have our third here, which is the 7th of the C. So you could really go on the first chord, play that first note, that F note, first string of the E, first fret of the E string, then again on the G, and then second fret of the A string on the C, something like. And then I would start to try to combine that with the arpeggio. So if we're on the D minor 7, something like to the G7 to our C. And then we get some kind of pretty cool jazz licks going. Alright, so those are called target notes. I would target those guide tones, and I would try to do the best to hit them on the chord changes, and I would do the same thing with each note really, alright? All 4 notes, go through and listen to each one. So I would start with those guide tones, get the arpeggio under your fingers, and try to make some lines over this jam track and really have fun with it, experiment, play with it, and make it your own. But just know that those arpeggios work great over each respective chord. There are other concepts in jazz. We have alter chords, we have scale improvisation, we have non-diatonic chords, we have the bebop scale. There's a lot more you can do than just these arpeggios. We can superimpose arpeggios of other chords on top of these chords to make more colorful chords. There's a lot of things you can do, but I would encourage you to start with the basic, get the arpeggios under your fingers, hear how each tone sounds over the chord, and then make your own melody lines. If you can do those 3 things, I think you're off to a great start. And as this develops, we're going to go ahead and look at some more in-depth jazz concepts. But I think that's a great place to start. And know that all of these things are movable, right? So if this is the key of C, if we were to do it in the key of D, I would be doing the same thing, just moving the arpeggios up. So instead of playing here and here, I'm going to move up a whole step. 1, 2, there's my E minor 7 arpeggio. Right? And here's my A7 arpeggio. And, of course, my D major 7 arpeggio. Okay, so know that all the arpeggio shapes are movable as well too. Have fun with it, jam with it, get the jam track, and I don't know, record yourself, throw it up on TenThumbs, let's hear what you got, alright? And until next time, my beatniks, my jazz heads, just keep on jamming. TenThumbs Pro. Alright, that was it. Go ahead, go over to the website, get the MP3, let us know what you think. We're really excited about all this stuff, and we're going to be looking at other keys, other tonalities, non-diatonic stuff, scales, blues improvisation, how to improvise over your popular or pop progressions, all kinds of things. But I think this is a good place to get you guys started, okay? Alright, TenThumbPro.com. Check it out. We're doing social work, we're doing Instagram, we're doing Patreon, we're doing Twitter, we're doing Facebook, we're doing all that stuff. And all the support you give us, we really appreciate it. We put it right back into TenThumbs, we give it right back to you. That's the whole idea, okay? Alright, TenThumbsPro.com. Take care, everybody, and until next time, just keep on playing on. Alright, keep enjoying that jazz. Take care.